Conference Finals between the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls.
What time is it?
The defending world champion Chicago Bulls hoping to wrap up the series tonight. The Miami Heat seeking to extend to a 6-game Friday night bank in Miami. A crowd of 21,000 turning out at the United Center in Chicago in hopes of seeing their Bulls advance to their 5th NBA Finals in 7 years. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert along with Matt Gukas. And Matt, during the course of his illustrious playing career, I doubt that Michael Jordan has ever gone through as bizarre a game as he did Monday in Miami. Overall, 0 for 11 in the first half, 2 of his first 22, and then he scores 20 of the Bulls' 23 points, turning it around in the fourth quarter.
Well, Michael had no lift in his legs and no rhythm, but you just don't expect the biggest star in the game to miss that many shots. But he was forced to take a number of them with the shot clock winding down. And then he tried to take the ball to the basket, but his hands weren't working too well either. But Michael Jordan just keeps attacking, and he got it going in the fourth quarter, almost bringing the Bulls all the way back from a 21-point deficit. Now, he hit 7 out of 13 down the stretch by getting into the teeth of the defense, and the only other Bull to score a field goal in the fourth quarter was Dennis Rodman. And Michael knows for Chicago to play their best basketball, more Bulls have to get involved in every aspect of the game.
And in Game 4 on Monday in Miami, the Heat able to dramatically turn it from the flat performance they suffered in Game 3. And their two key players, Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway, the guys who provided the spark.
Well, these two All-Stars got off to a terrific start, which was crucial for Miami's confidence. Now, Tim Hardaway ignited the Heat with his three-point shooting and was more aggressive in attacking the basket. And Alonzo Mourning backed up his prediction with an aggressive 18-point, 14-rebound performance. And Miami's supporting cast made a big difference. Jamal Mashburn, feistier than usual. But Sean Leonard, a timely score and a defensive factor on Jordan. And Isaac Austin chipped in with another solid game. But it all starts with Hardaway and Mourning, and they will have to be at their best tonight to keep this series alive.
All right, so coming up, it's the Heat and the Bulls in Game 5, and when we come back, we'll check in with Hannah Storm at our NBA Showtime studio.
Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm in New York. Tip-off of the Heat and the Bulls is 9:15 Eastern Time, and we'll send you back to Chicago in just a few minutes. Now, last night in the Western Conference Finals, the home team dominance continued as the Jazz beat the Rockets 96-91 to take a 3-2 lead. Game 6 is tomorrow night in Houston. Karl Malone had his way with Charles Barkley in the matchup at power forward. And as for Eddie Johnson's assurance that if Houston won Game 5, they'd also win Game 6, it will never be put to the test.
If we get that game, it's over.
Why do you say that?
I just guarantee it. Guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Ball away, curls it home. 18 for Akeem. Malone. And tapped in by the Rockets.
Houston led by as much as 6 in the first half, but trailed by 3 at the break. One local paper had asked, "Hey, Karl, isn't it about time to deliver?" And the league's MVP did, with his best all-around performance in the series.
Every time they stay with Karl Malone. But when you're going to hit that shot, I don't care who's guarding. Their MVP, Karl Malone, has got his stroke.
There wasn't any doubt that we wouldn't have a great game tonight. You know, that's what we need. His inside play, just like the Rockets beat off Akeem, we beat off Karl.
Karl Malone not the only reason the Jazz won 64 games. They got some other good players, and they played well tonight. But unfortunately, you know, he's the man, and he's going to get all the blame. He don't get all the credit, but he gets all the blame. But he played well tonight, but I was happy with the way I played. And if he make that fadeaway jump, I told you, I'd shake his hand after the series and say, hey, good luck against the Bulls.
I have to be honest, I talked about this game like this was the biggest game of the year. What a great opportunity it was to put the pressure on these guys. I'm not ashamed of my team. They came in here. I just think if we would have had a little bit more of an edge, it might have gone the other way.
I was very proud of the way we played. To come in this building, in this situation, you know, we got our butts kicked the first 2 times we were here. but we had a chance to win the game for the first time. And that would be very encouraging to me on Sunday. But obviously right now, that's really not much to say. We obviously got to win Thursday. You know, we can sit here and you can say this and you can say that, but obviously all the pressure's on us now to win Thursday.
Something to keep in mind about the Rockets, under Rudy Tomjanovich, Houston is 11-2 in elimination games. Now, the marquee matchup in this series has been at power forward with Karl Malone and Charles Barkley. Barkley was the league MVP in 1993 when he led the Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals. Malone is this year's MVP, and he's looking to do the same thing. After last night's game, Jim Gray spoke with the mailman.
It's not Karl Malone anymore. It's MVP Karl Malone. And, you know, it's a lot of pressure, but Michael went through it, Charles went through it, Akeem and David. You know, all those guys went through it. And what you try to do is just play. And your sanctuary is on the court where you can control things. Everybody look at that matchup. And, you know, it's intriguing, but I don't think it's what this series is made of.
But there was a very interesting exchange. In fact, it almost looked as though the two of you needed to be separated in Game 5 for just that brief moment.
No, you know, I think the referees just want to get on the camera. You know, we was fine. You know, first of all, who's going to break us up anyway? You know, like I asked one of the referees, what are you running here for? What are you going to do? He said, nothing.
This is, to me, is a big deal. I want to get to the finals. I need to get to the finals. You know, I want to win the championship.
I respect Charles Barkley a lot as a human being and as a person. But I want to get to the championship. So excuse me if we're not friends when we play on the court sometime, because I want to get to the championship. Charles wants the same thing. Somebody can't go.
There's plenty more with Karl Malone. As for the headline we showed you earlier, he was quite upset with that story in a Salt Lake City newspaper, which was critical of his performances in Games 3 and 4. And we'll be bringing you that story at halftime of tonight's game. Now, one piece of news from the NBA today. The league has fined Alonzo Mourning and Dennis Rodman $5,000 each for their part in this altercation in Monday's game. Each player was assessed a technical foul, which extended Rodman's dubious streak of at least one technical foul in all 12 postseason games this year. We're closing in on tip-off of Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. A Bulls victory puts them in the NBA Finals for the 5th time in 7 years. Marv Albert and Matt Gukas will have the call. The NBA playoffs on NBC continue after these messages.
Well, it is just past 10 minutes past 8 o'clock here in Chicago. We're indoors at the United Center of the Windy City, ready to check out the starting lineups for this Game 5 of the best of 7 Eastern Conference Final. First for the visitors, the Miami Heat. In the backcourt, Tim Hardaway and Rashawn Leonard. Hardaway with a bounce-back game Monday in Miami. 25 points for Hardaway. And on the front line, Alonzo Mourning, who turned it after that 1-for-4, 9-turnover game in Game 3. Jamal Mashburn had a good one the other day. P.J. Brown at the other forward position. Pat Riley, head coach of the Miami Heat. And a look at the Chicago Bulls going with their usual starting 5. At the guards, Ron Harper and Michael Jordan. 9 of 35 in game number 4. Luke Longley's been very quiet last couple of games. Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, who went offensive in several ways in game 4, but had a 13.11 rebound performance. Phil Jackson, head coach of the Chicago Bulls. Interesting byplay between these two teams moments ago. For more of that, Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Marv. I talked to Michael Jordan about the loss on Monday. He said some good things happened to that. He said the bad things were we got beaten and we got beaten up, and our pride took a hit. He said, but what that did is that brought our whole team together as a group and really improved our focus. He said even championship teams need a wake-up call, and he said that was theirs. Now, Michael has been saying all week that this series is personal. If you watch here as the two captains meet in the middle of the court, I guess you'll see that this is what Michael meant by it's all personal. Watch Michael. And by the way, another thing, Marv, Michael, after practice today, went out and played shouldn't affect him today.
Hard about the officials, Joe Crawford, Don Baden, and Hugh Hollins. Ahmad not specific on how many holes that Michael played. So Michael Jordan refusing to shake the hand of Alonzo Mourning just a moment ago.
Well, there was very little hand shaking, hand slapping for all 10 players out on the floor when they came out to center court. In fact, the only one I saw was Dennis Rodman and Marshawn Leonard just tapping fists ever so briefly. This could be very interesting with all this animosity right from the get-go.
All right, Mourning and Longley, and controlled by Miami. Tim Hardaway, who grew up here in the Chicago area, for Marshawn Leonard being played by Jordan. Jamal Mashburn. And here's Hardaway. Rebounded by Jordan. Now, it'll be intriguing to see how Michael plays it at the start. I know Phil Jackson does not want to see him try to do too much.
Talking with Phil before the game, I asked him that, and he said, no, he's got to make sure the other players get involved. They got to get Luke Longley some scoring chances inside to possibly try and draw a foul on Alonzo Mourning.
And Harper opens up with the finger roll.
And the Bulls will take any kind of offense they can get from Ron Harper, who has struggled mainly from the outside, so why not take it to the basket?
Alonzo Mourning hearing the boos from the crowd, and then is rejected by Longley. Just for the record, going back in NBA playoff history, two teams have been down 0-3 and come back to force a seventh game. The 1951 New York Knicks did it in the finals, and the 1994 Denver Nuggets. Here is Jordan. Michael putting a signature on that one.
Well, the underneath out-of-bounds pass was tipped by Pippen, and Jordan challenging Tim Hardaway, and Hardaway bailed out, didn't even try to commit any kind of foul, letting Jordan get the dunk. Tipped by Pippen, stolen by Harper, sending Jordan on the breakaway, and Hardaway had a notion, but pulled back at the last moment.
Harper, very aggressive, looking for the steal, was called for that foul. Leonard. Jordan not allowing the shot. Mashburn. Met by the double team. Excellent defense by the Bulls. Rodman had nowhere to go and drew the foul. Very fortunate because he caught it in a difficult position, but still was able to attempt the shot. And the foul committed by Mashburn. It is very rare that Michael Jordan will follow up a poor performance with another one. Take a look at this. A list of his so-called bad games, followed by 55, 47, and 44.
Well, Michael has been very open about saying how many times he has come up short throughout his career, but he says those failures have enabled him to succeed. But just scoring a lot of points is not enough, and Michael Jordan knows that. If that happens to be the kind of night he's going to have, it, so be it. But he's got to do all the other things on the basketball floor, not necessarily just scoring.
Bulls with a 6-0 lead. The Heat missing their first 4 shot attempts. And every shot appears to be a struggle, the way Chicago has opened up defensively.
And no surprise with this kind of defensive effort, the Bulls had a look at tape. This is the way they played in the third quarter in Game 4.
Scottie Pippen pulls it back. Bulls looking very sharp and confident here at the start. Jordan off the head fake. Michael Jordan gives the Bulls an 8-0 lead.
And it's not only the good defense of Chicago, Miami tight as a drum right now. And what a big factor was in Game 4 was that they made shots early, in particular Tim Hardaway and Alonzo Mourning. As a team, the Miami Heat 0 for 5 right now.
Foul was called on Longley, and then Pat Riley decides to take a 20. So 2.5 minutes gone by in this first quarter, and the Bulls with an 8-0 lead, and you can see the concern on the face of Pat Riley. Earlier we had talked with Pat about what the feeling was – on the part of his Miami Heat coming into a game like this tonight.
you are waiting to play a game that, you know, there's impending doom. It's over with. I mean, that's one of the worst weights in the world. And, you know, we're still there. I mean, we're here for Game 5. We're down 3-1, and we got our work cut out for us. But you got to stand up. You got a job to do. You got to come and do it. And if you play well, you don't know what can happen. It's amazing that he went over 14. You don't know what can happen. You don't know what can happen tomorrow. You know, you don't know. I mean, maybe Rodman, you know, could create something to get a half the team suspended. I don't know. You just got to stay in it.
Impending doom, the words used by Pat Riley. Traveling violation, giving the ball back to the Bulls. They lead it 8-0. Jordan putting moves on again. And a good box out by Mourning. Nice look. D.J. Brown from Tim Hardaway. And Miami with its first field goal.
And that's what the Miami Heat have done all season long in transition. Tim Hardaway, one of the best in the league at looking up and hitting big men running the floor. You've got to keep your eye on Hardaway at all times.
Now Jordan. That time he forced it because he anticipated the foul being called. It was on Leonard, his first.
Well, as slow and as lethargic as Michael looked in the first half of Game 4, he is that much quicker. Everything Michael is doing so far, very crisp, very sharp, all of his move as he is so focused into this game.
Luke Longley said the other day, the great thing about a bad shooting day for Michael Jordan is he always has the next day. Michael reportedly played 46 holes of golf on Sunday prior to that fourth game on Monday. He did play 45 minutes, and the energy level, we talked about this during the game, seemed to pick up in the second half, which is incredible because it looked like the legs were a problem, but he said, no, he's just missing his shots. He was missing badly in the early going.
Well, most players that would go 2 for 22, first of all, they wouldn't get that many shots to begin with, would never get the chance to be in for the fourth quarter to come out of it.
And Joe Crawford with the foul call. It's a double foul. Scottie Pippen and Jamal Mashburn.
Well, it wasn't just Alonzo Mourning who was hitting people with elbows in Game 4. Michael Jordan, in particular, took exception. He took a knot on the head from Jamal Mashburn, and everybody, I think, saw the one that Alonzo Mourning put on the head of Scottie Pippen.
Here's Leonard for 3. And on the back tap, handled by Pippen. Jordan going behind the back. Jordan extending off the tip. Michael Jordan with the tip-in. It's the Bulls 12, the Heat 2, and Jordan has 8 of the 12 Chicago points. Hardaway on a quick release. Brown is blocked by Longley, and it will be Chicago ball.
Well, the Chicago defense is doing this all to Miami, and the tentativeness of the Heat in their half-court offense is just lending that much more problem to their cause right now. Not getting enough ball movement. They have to establish Alonzo Mourning inside, and he can't mess around with the ball. He's got to look for a quick scoring opportunity. When doubled, give the ball up.
Michael Jordan looking on target right from the opening tip, and he's talking to Leonard. Timeout called by Miami. You see all the assistant coaches trying to get the players' heads back into it. They're looking tentative, as they did during Game 3 in Miami.
And Michael Jordan staying after it after Dennis Rodman keeps it alive. And that's what Dennis Rodman can do for you. Get to the rebounds, get to the loose ball. Michael Jordan, so sharp, so quick, making Sean Leonard work extremely hard at the defensive end. Well, nothing tentative for the Chicago Bulls offense. They have had 8 possessions and scored on 7 of them with a couple of offensive rebounds as they're not settling for perimeter shots, taking it to the basket as Miami Heat all over the place, having to force shots up under a tremendous amount of pressure from the Chicago Bull defense. And so far, Miami just cannot get settled at the offensive end, nor the defensive end.
Dan Marley has come on, first substitution for the Miami Heat. The Bulls up 14-2. P.J. Brown and Pippen able to keep it away. Incidentally, that tip a moment ago was credited to Dennis Rodman, not Michael Jordan. Both were vying for the loose ball. Longley. Oh, nice ball by Luke Longley, hearing the chants of Luke from the crowd. And the Bulls now lead 16-2. Foul is called on Chicago. It's on Longley, who has been in foul trouble during the course of the series. That is his second, and Brian Williams hopping off the bench. He'll come on.
And talking with Pat Riley yesterday, I sensed that he was concerned about his team being satisfied with a bounce-back game. But this is what Luke Longley has to do with Alonzo Mourning, who tries to establish inside position on the transition. You have to start bumping him out high, but the officials want to keep a close eye on all the extra physical contact.
Miami now 1 of 10 from the field. Hardaway for 3. Rebounded by Brown, rejected by Brian Williams. Marley whips it back out. Hardaway again for 3. Tim Hardaway from downtown. It is now 16-5 Chicago. Halfway through this first quarter. And Pippen had it knocked away. Marley deflected it out.
Pat Riley, as I said before, worrying about the bounce back, the game that they won and what would happen in the next game. I think was trying to sell his team that the Chicago Bulls and the national media not respecting their team. But once you step out on the floor, all of that is forgotten.
Jordan had to fire it up with the shot clock running down, and Rashawn Leonard finished off the break, so the Bulls now lead 16-7.
Pat Riley during that last stoppage, I'm sure telling his team some of the good defense that they have played throughout this series, to hang in there, dig in, keep playing the defense, and our offense will take care of itself if we can stop Chicago from scoring.
Illegal defense, the call for the first time against Miami.
Michael Jordan working without the ball in the triangle offense, trying to establish post position. Has the size advantage there in the post whenever he wants it against Rashawn Leonard or Tim Hardaway if there's a switch.
Brian Williams over to set the pick to unleash Scottie Pippen. And Pippen was hacked. Oh, Scottie Pippen to the free throw line. And Marley collecting his first. Prior to Monday's victory by Miami, Pat Riley, we're told, did not give his team one of those famous rousing pregame speeches. Jamal Mashburn said he actually thinks it was reverse psychology on the part of Riley. Actually, Matt, if players know it's reverse psychology, it doesn't work. Apparently it did. They came out and played very well, and knocking off the Bulls 87-80 to stay alive. Miami led by as many as 21 of the Bulls came back in that second half, with Michael Jordan turning it up, particularly in the fourth quarter.
Oh, we asked Pat yesterday what was the big difference in Game 4. He said we made shots. It's something that we had a lot of problem doing. Not so much because of the Chicago Bulls defense, not to take anything away from it, because Miami was shooting very poorly in the first 3 games of the series, but they got off to a good start in Game 4, and that makes a huge difference.
Good play. Jordan knocked it away. Leonard was looking on the wing for Brown. And once again, a superb defensive sequence by Chicago. Scottie Pippen looks to be hobbling as he comes out, replaced by Tony Kukoc. Tony Kukoc has been very quiet. Tony Kukoc still bothered by the leg injury.
And lack of confidence. He has not seen the ball go in the basket very much, and he's not been able to make some plays. Here's a steal by Marley.
And the open shot by Marley. Williams and Mourning going at each other as they were angling for position, and the foul is called on Brian Williams. Talking about the Heat having their difficulty to see the regular season field goal numbers, and look where they have gone this series. What a difference. On the subject of non-production, Kukoc with only 11 points in 4 games has not gotten the usual playing time. Brown rejected by Williams. Brian Williams with another block shot. 18-7 Chicago. 4:25 remaining in the first quarter. Kukoc, and hit from behind. Picked up on the switch, had the mismatch with Hardaway.
Scottie Pippen getting his left ankle worked on to tighten up that tape. On that one penetration play he made, seemed to come down awkwardly, and had some words with Tim Hardaway right after that. But Scottie Pippen has had the mindset throughout this series to be more aggressive in going to the basket, and in Game 4 he took plenty of lumps when he did go, in particular that lump on his head, as Tony Kukoc continuing to struggle, looks very slow out on the floor, unable to make his move.
He is back from a strained right arch injury. He's had problems with the foot all season long. How about Miami, Matt? 3 of 16 from the field, and they've had to work hard to get all of those shots off. The call against the Heat. Alonzo Mourning with his first.
And here is the shooting so far. Nobody able to get on track, and I think the Heat have gotten some good opportunities in the lane. We saw the block shot on P.J. Brown's dunk attempt, but all those shots in the lane heavily challenged by the Chicago Bulls and forced to miss.
And Chicago maintains possession. For more on Scottie Pippen, let's go to Ahmad.
All right, Marv, Scottie twisted his ankle, and what they're doing right now is trainer Chip Schaefer is retaping the ankle, and he'll try to go with it then, and then he'll take a closer look at it at halftime. Marv?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Shot clock down to 7. Kukoc fires. Yes! Tony Kukoc, a notorious street shooter. Fans here in Chicago hope that's a good sign as he hits on his first. Mourning off a double team, lost it. Jordan. Rebound Kukoc. And stripped. Here comes Hardaway. Hopper able to get back. Nice move by Hardaway. Oh, what a play by Tim Hardaway, and a foul.
And this is what Pat Riley and the Heat have wanted from Tim Hardaway throughout this series, which he has done all year. Why he is first team All-NBA. Not only can pull up and take that three, but is very dangerous in the open floor. He has the crossover, faked it there, able to beat Ron Harper easily to the basket. You see how he has struggled in the losses in this series. That 2 for 17 from beyond the arc, a big factor why Miami struggled in those first 3 games.
Foul was called on Jordan. His first. Chicago 22 and Miami 10 as we come up on 3 minutes to go in this first quarter. Marv Albert with Matt Gukas and Ahmad Rashad. It's Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. Chicago hoping to wrap it. Miami trying to bring it back to Miami for a 6th game, which would take place on Friday night.
Well, the Chicago Bulls have been trying to get Tony Kukoc on track when he gets some minutes. He had his mind made up. He was going to shoot this, whether there was a hand in his face or not. And he not only has to hit the threes, he has to start making plays for other people.
Good start for Michael Jordan, coming off the 9 of 35 shooting, 0 for 11 in the first half in game number 4. In fact, in checking the record books, Michael Jordan missing 26 shots equaled the most missed shots that he's ever suffered through in a single game. There you see it.
Doesn't bother him a bit. He's going to take the next shot. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Michael always a threat for a lob in the lane or popping out to the wing for the jumper.
And Kukoc throwing in, looking for Jordan. Couldn't find him. and a loop it into Brian Williams. And Williams with the tip. Nice follow. Brian Williams has played so well since coming over, signing as a free agent following the injury that was suffered by Bill Wennington. P.J. Brown, he's been very quiet. Hopper with the rebound. 2.5 to go in this first quarter. The Bulls in command, 24-10. At one stretch, they led 16-2. Oh, Jordan off a beautiful lead from Hopper.
And the Bulls have taken advantage of the Heat over-committing on defense from time to time with those backdoor plays. The Heat trying to be aggressive, but it gets them in trouble from time to time.
Miami shooting only 4 of 18. Well, Tim Hardaway improving that percentile. Hardaway with a three-pointer. He now has 9. And the Bulls lead 26-13. Kukoc. He had the mismatch with Hardaway. Isaac Austin, who's played well throughout the series, has come on for the first time. Hardaway fires. And Brian Williams with the box out on P.J. Brown. Kukoc running the floor, but has to pull it up.
Still shaky on his footing. Had an excellent opportunity last time with the post-up, but because his timing was way off, rushed the shot against the smaller Hardaway.
Now Kukoc got the step.
He's working his way into it, Barb. He's going to force it right now, and the Bulls will need it with Pippen in the locker room.
Hardaway foul.
Well, Michael Jordan about to pop out on the wing, and Bashan Leonard trying to not deny him the basketball. And this is a long backdoor alley-oop pass from Ron Harper, but Leonard makes the mistake by not keeping body contact with Michael Jordan to prevent that cut. But Ron Harper and Michael Jordan acknowledging each other on that nice play.
Brian Williams called for the foul off the double team on Hardaway. 28-14 Chicago. NBA.com, the official website of the NBA, stepping up its game for this playoff run, now offering same-night video highlights in addition to post-game recaps, box scores, and up-to-the-minute stats for every player and team. NBA.com, your ultimate online resource for the NBA playoffs. 1:15 remaining in this first quarter. Alonzo Mourning sitting down, did not score, committed 3 turnovers. You see Tim Hardaway with 11 points, 11 of the Miami 15. Jordan, he had lots of room to operate.
And he made sure by really pounding into the floor and getting high in the air, he didn't have to get that high.
Brown shooting. P.J. Brown with his second field goal. The Bulls 30, the Heat 17.
Jason Cappy getting some minutes here. He's only played 16 minutes in the series. Didn't play at all in game 4.
Cappy getting the time with Pippen. Hurt at the moment. Three-pointer by Jordan. Scottie Pippen injuring his ankle earlier in this first quarter. Bulls now lead 33-17. Hardaway trying to pull away and was held by Hopper. Hopper committing his second.
Well, Michael Jordan keeps moving and moving within the offense, not getting on the pick and roll, but then cutting quickly across the lane and getting Hardaway on his back and going high in the air, and then stepping back on the nice screen from Jason Cappy to launch one from the perimeter. Now, a couple things for Miami. They have gotten a good start from Tim Hardaway as far as scoring is concerned. He now has 12 points. But the biggest fear I'm sure Pat Riley had coming into this game, and anytime you play here at the United Center, is getting behind early, and that's exactly what's happened. But it has been the Chicago Bulls' kind of habit all season long not to get off to particularly good starts, rather get off, feel the team out in the first half, and then try to turn it on third, fourth quarter.
But today, a very good start. 33-19 lead for the Bulls. Steve Kerr, who has seen limited activity in this series, has come on for Ron Harper. Michael Jordan. Got to run the clock down. And they turn it over. Final seconds. Not a pretty finish here at the end of this first quarter. But the Bulls with a point advantage, led by Jordan. 15-point first quarter for Michael Jordan. We'll be back with more of Game 5 of this best-of-7 Eastern Conference Final. You're watching the NBA on NBC. Early this evening, proud moments for Phil Jackson and his family. His twin sons, Ben and Charlie, graduated from Deerfield High School. Deerfield, a Chicago suburb, and was nearly a conflict because graduation time was at 5 o'clock, but with the help of a helicopter, Phil was able to attend, and we talked about it earlier with Phil.
A lot of times we talk about things are important and they take some precedence. Well, this one happened to work out. It's 2.5 hours before the game time, so I was able to see 45 minutes of their graduation, which got me here in time.
So you won't fine yourself for being late?
Well, I told the boys I'd pay the fine. They know I have to pay the fines, too.
Yes, I don't think Phil will mind at all. Congratulations to the Jackson family. For more of that, let's check in with Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Marv. I spoke with Phil's wife, June, just before the game. She said she went over to the graduation. She saw her boys graduate, and she cried, and she hurried over here so she could change that tune and start celebrating. So she's here, and as it's going right now, she might have good reason to celebrate if it keeps going this way. Marv?
All right, the second quarter is underway, and Phil Jackson, Chicago Bulls up 33-19. Better news yet for the Bulls. Scottie Pippen, bothered by the injured ankle, went out earlier in the first quarter, making his way back to the Chicago sideline.
And in that first quarter, we saw the best execution by the Chicago Bulls as Dennis Rodman. Shot clock winding down. Let's go with the three. And all that good execution in that first quarter resulted in outstanding shooting by the Bulls. 12 for 20 from the field.
And Dennis Rodman on the release knew it was on target. Rodman during the regular season hit only 5 3-pointers, 5 of 19. Here's Austin getting inside. Isaac Austin scoring for Miami. And with a minute gone by in the second, it's the Bulls up by 15.
And if you notice, it's still early in this game, but Dennis Rodman not getting involved in extra physical stuff with the Miami Heat and not getting involved with the officials. He knows Joe Crawford, as the lead referee, will take no nonsense.
And there's also a fellow on the crew, Hugh Hollins, who has certainly had some ups and downs from the Chicago Bulls point of view. He's been involved in several scenarios. There's Rodman firing the three. And the other official, Don Vaden, Pat Riley, not accepting.
But he knows Rodman is going to do all the other stuff. You can't count on that or expect that from Dennis Rodman. You hope he takes a bunch of them and starts fast breaks for your team.
Reach and foul on Isaac Austin, who is clearly unhappy about the call. And a technical foul on Austin. The officials are not going to take much. Austin persisted in showing his disgust about the call, and so he's hit with the tee, and Steve Kerr will shoot.
You're right, why they want to set the tone, because they know throughout the course of the game there's going to be a lot of barking, complaining, and looking when you have a Dennis Rodman on the floor. I remember last year in the finals in Seattle, Game 5, and Dennis Rodman, about the second trip up the floor, just looked over to referee Joe Crawford with just a mild complaint, and Joe Crawford teed him up, and that set the tone for the rest of the game. So that's what I'm sure the referees talked about coming into this one.
Luke Longley on the line for the first time. 79% free throw shooter during the regular season. Luke Longley earlier this year missed 18 games with a separated shoulder. Bulls lead 38-21. Minute and a half gone by in the second. And the foul is called on Kerr. Tim Hardaway, a very difficult assignment for Steve Kerr.
And it's one of the reasons why Steve's minutes have been curtailed throughout this series. There's just not a lot of comfortable matchup for him. Michael Jordan, 35 points in the last 2 quarters.
Oh, Mashburn called for steps. Trying to set up for the drive. 6th turnover committed by Miami. It was a franchise record 61-win season for the Miami Heat. A terrific year. 61-21, beat out the New York Knicks to win the Atlantic Division. They were the NBA's most improved team. Beat Orlando in 5. Came back from a 3-1 deficit to take the Knicks in 7. And trailing here 3 games to 1. But hoping to dramatically pull it out to get this series back to Miami on Friday. Hardaway coming up short on the 3-pointer. Good job by Austin. Isaac Austin. So the Bulls now lead 38-23.
And Dennis Rodman took a shot in the eye right now. Phil Jackson recognizes it.
And a timeout is taken by the Bulls. Rodman indicating that he is okay. 2.5 gone by in the second. Chicago has a 15-point lead. A look at the Navy Pier area here in Chicago and tonight's bird's eye views of the Windy City being provided by the Miller Eagle airplane. Miller Brewing using the Eagle as an exciting new way of providing fans with aerial views on sports television.
Well, it's been a tale of 2 first halves for Michael Jordan. This was Michael's shots in the first half of game 4, missing all 11, and then today, just the 1 3-pointer from outside. Most of the time, Michael trying to beat people off the dribble, which is what he did in the 4th quarter of game 4. It was so effective.
The Bulls lead 38-23. Brian Williams taking it to the basket. Very strong fashion. 4 points, 2 block shots for Brian Williams. And the Bulls lead by 17 with 3 minutes gone by in the second. Here's Marley. Kerr tried a back tap, but it's handled by Mashburn. Well, Mashburn, who had a good one in Miami on Monday, 7 of 12. 17 points, found the touch after struggling. Williams with room. The box out by Mourning.
Mourning starting to do a good job at the defensive end, especially on the board, but he's got to get involved at the offensive end.
Mashburn for 3. Jamal Mashburn with 5 straight points, and the Bulls lead by 12. And that gets the crowd going. But Jordan checked the ball, something slippery on it that he did not like. Here's Kukoc for 3.
Well, Tony Kukoc realizes he's coming out of the ball game right now. Bad matchup for him on Jamal Mashburn. Whistler will be replacing him.
Jordan checking the floor. He saw he had Kukoc running down the right side. Instead went the other way to Kerr. Jordan played by Mourning. Well, the Chicago Bulls have lost the touch here. As a result, the Heat within 12. Mashburn, nice move, and foul. So Jamal Mashburn will go to the line. Judd Bushler is checking in for the first time, as is Randy Brown. Scottie Pippen played 7 minutes, injured his ankle, went back to the locker room. He has not re-entered the game. Trying to get a report. Ahmad has been checking it out, but no official word on what is going on with Scottie Pippen.
And he's not in the game. He is the best defensive matchup for the Chicago Bulls against Jamal Mashburn, and I was wrong. It's Judd Bushler coming in to give Michael Jordan a breather, and Kukoc will stay on the floor as the primary ball handler for Chicago, and this could be very dangerous with neither Jordan or Pippen on the floor for the Bulls.
Bulls just won for the last 7. It's now a 10-point lead. Chicago is led by as many as 17 after that energized start. Randy Brown. Brian Williams rejected by Alonzo Mourning.
Well, Brian Williams has been very quick across the lane, usually from right to left. This time, Brian Williams going with his offhand and not in very strong fashion.
3 on the shot clock. Kukoc couldn't find anyone and then gambled with that pass, and it worked in favor of the Bulls. Randy Brown was hit by Tim Hardaway. That's the second. committed by Hardaway. Right now, Phil Jackson has Michael Jordan sitting down. That is strictly for a rest. And Scottie Pippen has not been a contributor in this first half because of the ankle problem. Kukoc delivers to Longley. Longley with his second field goal. And that ends the 7-0 run by Miami.
And now with more responsibility on the shoulders of Kukoc, making a nice play in there. And that's what Tony can do, is get that second unit some good shots. But he has not done it throughout the playoff series.
Mashburn, played by Kukoc. Shot clock down to 3. Hardaway from way downtown. Good play by Bushler. Leads Williams. Oh, Judge Bushler with a very smart maneuver. Bulls by 14. Chant of defense from the crowd here in Chicago. Marley for 3. Well, Matt, there's no question that the Heat has settled down, looking very tight at the start, handling the ball in tentative fashion, but they have picked it up, trailing now by 11. Brian Williams, yes, and it counts.
Well, a couple of reasons for Miami's good ball movement is no Jordan or Pippen on the floor defensively. Very good ball movement. But Brian Williams running the floor beautifully after Judge Bushler knocked that ball free to himself. And once again, Brian Williams from the top taking it strong to the hole.
Ahmad Rashad back here in Chicago with an update injury report on Scottie Pippen. They're calling it a sprained left foot. They took x-rays. The x-rays are negative, but it's questionable whether or not he's going to return. He was out here trying to stretch it. He said there's a pain in the ball of his foot that he feels when he steps down on it, and he's gone back into the locker room now, I believe, to maybe try another tape job. He's been trying to get it ready to see if he's going to play, but they're saying it's questionable whether or not he will return, and I'll keep you posted. Marv?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. It's been a couple of rough days physically for Scottie Pippen against the Miami Heat, but the bench has done the job. As you can see, Brian Williams has had a terrific series. 9 minutes today, 8 points, and Tony Kukoc contributing in his 11 minutes.
Brian Williams had a very strong second half in Game 4, playing with some foul problems as the Bulls made that furious comeback.
Bulls controlling the boards, and Longley with the tip. He has 7 points. Chicago up 48-33.
And Phil Jackson staying with the big front line of Longley and Brian Williams to try to counter Austin and Alonzo Mourning, and Miami doing nothing to get Alonzo Mourning the ball inside.
Austin is fouled. Alonzo Mourning has attempted only one shot, reminiscent of what took place in Game 3, only 1 of 4 with the 9 turnovers. Alonzo has not been into this game.
And Luke Longley just nudging and pushing Alonzo Mourning too far underneath the basket to get up and rebound. Alonzo Mourning has to assert himself, in particular at this end.
Well, he just did and drew the foul. It's on Jordan. Brian Williams holding up his hand, looking to get the call on him, but it is Jordan with his second, and Mourning to the line for the first time.
Alonzo tried to get it going in the first half by taking the ball strong to the basket without fooling around with the basketball, and that's the way he started in Game 4, but good defense forced those 3 turnovers. These are the regular season numbers by Alonzo Mourning, an all-star center in the East this year. Numbers falling off in the playoffs as he has had foul problems, turnover problems, still helped this Miami Heat ball club to get to the conference finals.
Bulls by 14. They've led by as many as 17. Chicago has hit its last 4 shots. We approach 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Jordan tried to set it up on Marley, could not. Bushler shoots. And Mourning able to handle that rebound. Leonard lost the grip. And Hugh Hollins, the official trailing the play, looking for help on the call and got it from Joe Crawford, last touched by the Bulls.
Both Phil Jackson and Pat Riley trying to keep their key players on the floor for a long period of time while still getting these short little rests, which they need. But you got to have Hardaway, got to have Mourning, got to have Jordan out on the floor.
And Mourning turned it over. Here's Jordan beating Mashburn, but not able to hit. Bushler is there. The Chicago bench done the job in this first half. They now lead 50-34. Couldn't handle the pass. Here's Brown with Bushler. He taps it back, and Randy Brown puts it down. How about the play of Judd Bushler in his 7th season out of Arizona? Valuable player off the bench. Despite the up and down playing time, his play is always consistent. And he's hearing it from the crowd. Miami calls for time.
Well, the Miami Heat not protecting the basketball. Good defense by Luke Longley holding his ground, knocking the ball loose. Actually, Zoe blocked it loose from himself. And Judd Bushler not taking anything for granted, following up on the play. And then Randy Brown off to Bushler, right back to Randy Brown on the beautiful give and go.
4:20 remaining. First half, the Bulls with a commanding 18-point lead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Hannah Storm in New York. Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll hear from Karl Malone of the Utah Jazz. He spoke with Jim Gray after last night's win over the Houston Rockets. Game 6 of that series is tomorrow night here on NBC, with Utah leading it 3-2. We will also get first-half analysis from Julius Erving, Peter Vesey, and Mike Fratello of the game you're watching in Chicago between the Bulls and the Heat. Right now, Chicago with its biggest lead of the game, 18, as we send it back to Marv Albert, Matt Gukas, and Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thank you, Hannah. An 18-point Chicago lead, and there's Alonzo Mourning, who you recall guaranteed a victory for Game 4 Monday in Miami, and the Heat did come through. There were no guarantees, though, for tonight. Look at that stat line. 1 shot, 1 point, 4 turnovers in 17 minutes for Alonzo Mourning.
Well, he said he was going to keep his mouth shut coming into this game, and he's keeping his game very quiet as well, trying to put the ball on the floor in the lane, and that is very deadly against a frisky Chicago defense.
But Tim Hardaway has continued his good play. Nice move by Leonard, batting it away from Jordan. And Michael and Brian Williams discussed the poor exchange, which led to the turnover. John Leonard for Jamal Mashburn. He shoots the 3 and hits. Jamal Mashburn has picked it up here in the second quarter. He now has 10, 52-39 Chicago.
And Miami picking up their pressure on defense all the way in the backcourt, trying to disrupt the rhythm of Chicago.
Williams got the step. Will it count? No. Foul before the shot attempt, and that is number 4 on Mashburn. 4th foul on Jamal Mashburn. Well, a reminder, tomorrow must-see TV with a different look. The night beginning with Friends at 8 p.m. Eastern. Next up, Seinfeld and the gang at the special time at 8:30. And then Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 on the West Coast. The Jazz and the Rockets. And viewers on the West Coast will see Friends and Seinfeld after the game. That's must-see TV, NBA style, right here on NBC. How about Mashburn being on the floor with the 3 fouls? Pat Riley taking a chance. Mashburn had the hot hand.
Well, he's looking for any kind of offense he can get, and of course the three-point shot so much a part of Miami's attack, and that's what Mashburn can give you. Pat Riley gambled and lost. Brian Williams doing an outstanding job off the bench for Chicago, and Michael Jordan struggling mightily in this fourth quarter. 0 for 4, no points, all 15 of them in the first quarter.
Tim Hardaway with 18 points. And the Bulls now lead 54-42. Miami is over the foul limit. B.J. Brown has returned for Jamal Mashburn. Well, Mourning battling for that rebound. And a foul before the shot attempt. It's against the Bulls. Foul on Jason Caffey. So Alonzo Mourning to the line. 1 of 2 at the line tonight. The Bulls have led by as many as 18. They've had the double-digit lead the entire game. They jumped in front 12-2 right at the start. Alonzo Mourning. Look at the descending numbers. 53% in the playoffs at the foul line. He's down to 64 at the line during the regular season.
But in game 4, he was 0 for 4 for just about the whole game, and then with a minute and 28 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, stepped to the line and knocked a couple down. I think the Miami Heat have to be they're not going to be happy right now being down, but they have to be somewhat satisfied in that they have not been blown out of this game with the way that the Chicago Bulls came out of the blocks, and as tentative as Miami was to be this close at this point in the game.
And it had all the looks of a coronation, just a matter of what the final score would be. As Steve Kerr hits on his first field goal, but Miami able to come back. Michael Jordan, after the furious start, just 0 for 5 from the field in the second quarter. Hardaway. Hardaway popping from all angles and from way downtown. Foul again against the Bulls. It's on Brian Williams. That is his third.
But another big area of concern for Pat Riley is the amount of points that Chicago has scored in this first half. 56 already throughout the series. Pat has been selling to his team that they can play with Chicago, that they can defend to Chicago, that they have held the Bulls to 84 points a game. But Chicago already with 56, not a good sign.
And Mourning now 4 of 5 at the line. Here's the breakdown for the series. Have the 10 of 12 in game 3. Brian Williams, here's the applause as he departs. Luke Longley is back. How about Miami here? 11 of 12 at the line in this first half. Miami also a very resilient team. They are 5-0 in this year's playoffs when facing elimination. Goes back to game 5 against Orlando, and then of course the series against the Knicks when they came back from the 3-1 deficit and facing elimination the other day in Miami. Shot clock at 5. Jordan putting moves on Leonard. He is 0 for 6 in the second quarter. Caffey with the rebound. And they get the new 24. Just under 2 minutes left in the half. Jordan fouled by Mourning.
Well, Deshaun Leonard has picked up his pressure defensively, not only in the backcourt, but battling Michael Jordan for that post position, trying to get around in front of him. Very difficult to do as Michael just sheds him, goes in, realizing he was going to get that contact from Alonzo Mourning, just took the hit and fired it up towards the basket as Michael's having trouble finding the basket, a la first half game 4.
Missed his last 6 from the field. He's now 2 of 3 at the line. Usually a superb foul shooter, 83% during the season. The Bulls with a 57-46 lead. Hoping to wrap up this series. Kukoc off the steal. While Miami wanted to send it back to a 6th game on Friday night. And yet a new 24 for Chicago. Here's Kerr for 3. Yes. To 46, Chicago. Hardaway putting moves on Kerr. Marley open for 3. And Mourning with the rebound. Here's Leonard for 3. And chipped home. Tough work under the boards by Miami.
And it's how they are staying in this game, getting second and third opportunities on the offensive glass, and that's how Alonzo Mourning, who's having a tough time getting any kind of shots off, that's where he can find them.
Oh, He was the star. P.J. Brown getting credit for that tip a moment ago with several hands going for the loose ball. Bulls now lead 62-48.
And what a lift from the Chicago Bull bench as Michael Jordan has gone cold in the second quarter.
Hardaway pops it out to Leonard. Marley. Miami firing away from three-point range. Looking to get back into this game with the three-point shot. Overall 6 of 19 in the first half from three-point land. Down to 15 seconds remaining in the half. And Michael Jordan playing the clock. Now led by Mourning and fires. And he has lost the touch after the fast start. Final seconds of the half, and Hardaway was able to draw the foul, a blocking foul. It's on Kerr, so that's a quick three on Steve Kerr.
And Michael Jordan barking at Steve Kerr about that foul. Steve has had some problems with committing fouls at inopportune times. He committed a foul on a three-point attempt at the end of a quarter earlier in this playoff series. Steve realizes more than anybody else the mistake he made there.
Hardaway 5 of 5 at the line. Miami's done a nice job at the free throw line.
There are the team free throw shooting percentage for the Chicago Bulls way down in this particular series. Got to look for the long pass to Michael Jordan, top of the key.
All right, 2 and 9/10 seconds remaining. And broken up by Leonard, able to keep it away from Jordan. 1 and 8/10 seconds to go in this first half. And Jud Bushler checking back in, as is Ron Hoffer.
That 1.8 seconds may remind you of Scottie Pippen, who is unavailable to the Chicago Bulls right now with that bad left ankle.
Kukoc able to find Jordan. Yes! What a beautiful pass from Tony Kukoc. And that, a basket that hurts. A final second shot to end the first half.
Well, as cold as Michael has been in this second quarter, still going to take that shot, fade away, nothing but net.
He had missed his previous 17. Jordan leads the way with 18 points. The bench has done a terrific job for Chicago. Tim Hardaway, high man for Miami with 20. Alonzo Mourning with just 5 points. Stay tuned for Hannah Storm and the Prudential Halftime Report. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
Halftime of Game 5 in Chicago with the Bulls leading the Miami Heat 64-50. Michael Jordan leading the way with 18 points. Tim Hardaway has 20 for Miami, but Alonzo Mourning has no field goals and only 5 points. Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm back in New York, along with the usual Dr. J, Peter Vesey, and Mike Fratello. We're going to chat about the first half of the game you're watching in our next segment. But first, the Western Conference Finals between the Jazz and the Rockets. Utah leads it 3-2 with Game 6 tomorrow night in Houston. Karl Malone had a big game last night in Salt Lake City, 29 points and 14 rebounds, and perhaps he also had some extra incentive. Jim Gray spoke with the league's reigning MVP.
I have an inner desire to win. I've never been to the championship before. I want to know what it feels like.
The series is tied 2-2, and you open up the Salt Lake Tribune morning newspaper. Hey, Carl, isn't it about time to deliver? Almost as though they're turning on you right in the middle of the series.
Without a doubt, you know, and it was an isolated incident, but it was one of our writers in a paper that I've been pretty loyal to. And sometimes people wonder why professional athletes go into a shell, you know, and don't talk to press and don't talk to the media. But what I want to do, I want to allow one guy to put a damper on the positive guys in the media that I've had association with. But, you know, do it hurt? Absolutely it do.
When you saw it, did your heart sink? Were you angry?
You know, my heart didn't sink. My first initial thought was I was upset, without a doubt. But you next, any of the guys that try to lay it on the line every night, and they see an article like that, especially at home, it pisses you off. But what am I going to do? Am I going to go grab this guy and shake him and give him the satisfaction?
Let me ask you, why do you even care? Why does it even make any bit of difference to you what anybody says at this point?
Because there's so many people think professional athletes are warriors when we go out. We don't have feelings, and we don't have families and friends that read that kind of stuff. And, you know, I don't think that was just, that was a stab at my desire in my heart. And I have a big heart. And that right there was a stab at that.
Drexler outside, Maloney, Johnson at the buzzer!
I looked at game 4, and if I would have made 2 or 3, you know, 2 or 3 layup was uncontested. If I could have made those, we win the game. And like I said, I'm a competitor. I want to win. And I was upset with myself. You know what? But you don't need to tell me that. I know, you know. But I don't always want good things in life. I don't learn by good things all the time. I have to have some negative things. That's how I was brought up as a little kid from Summerfield, Louisiana. You can't always succeed in life if you don't have failures. Failures sometimes come at a bad time.
You've always been honest with us. And this is a tough question. But does this make you want to win this championship more for yourself and your teammates than to please the fans and to please the city?
For myself, I'll get the satisfaction myself. I want to do it more for my family, my teammates, and a true dedicated Jazz fan more than I do for myself. Because Karl Malone can handle a lot of things. I've been through a lot of things in my life. For the people that truly love me for me, they don't know how bad I want to win. You know, they don't know how bad I want to win for them.
It was a great victory, but one of my closest friends, he don't have long to live. The little boy that right there, so it's tough.
When was the last time you cried?
Last year.
Danny Ewing?
Yeah.
When's the last time you cried over basketball?
I never in my life cried about basketball or a game or the way I played. Never in my life have I've cried about friends, loved ones. We win it, it'll be tears of joy.
And tomorrow night, Karl Malone will try to take the final step in his quest to get to the NBA Finals. Game 6 between the Jazz and the Rockets in Houston. Airtime here on NBC is 9 o'clock Eastern. Tip-off at 9:15. And when we return, we'll talk about the first half in Chicago. But first, a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. Welcome back. Some NBA coaching news to tell you about tonight. The Denver Nuggets have scheduled a press conference for tomorrow, and it is expected that they will name Bill Handlick as their new head coach. Also, some key results at the French Open today. Top seed Pete Sampras moved on with a very easy straight-set win. Defending champ Yevgeny Kafelnikov also winning in straight sets. And 95 French Open champion Tomas Muster beat Jeff Tarango in 4 sets. Okay, it's halftime in Chicago. The Bulls leading the Heat 64-50 in Game 5. So let's talk about the first half, and who better to talk about Michael Jordan than Dr. J. Jordan really came out and set the tone for this game, even though he struggled shooting in the second quarter. He said it was going to be personal tonight.
Well, he did say it was personal, and the Bulls certainly got a wake-up call in Miami. But personal in this instance means from Michael coming an exhortation of his feelings to his coach and his teammates, imposing his will on the opposition, not going out and automatically scoring 50 or 60 points. Personal means showing leadership by example, kick, push, claw, whatever you have to do to get the job done, not playing one-on-one and get your man all night. Stand within the system that's gotten you to the championship series 5 of the last 7 years, and then enjoying the view from above that only a special few get a chance to look out from, and Michael is the guy who heads up that list.
And make sure you don't double bogey the first 3 quarters, too.
The golf reference. It had to come sometime. Okay, Michael, what are they doing defensively on Alonzo Mourning? How are they shutting down the $105 million man?
Well, coaches in the league realize that when Chicago's defense is in sync, in gear, it's just almost impossible to get clear looks at the basket because they're so athletic and they recover so quickly. Think about it. In 21 minutes, 4 turnovers, only 5 points, 1 field goal attempt for Alonzo Mourning. Let's take a look at a couple post-up plays for Mourning and show the indecisiveness. Alonzo down low, the three-point shooters behind the arc for the Miami Heat, and the Chicago defenders look like they're close enough to give him some problems at the three-point line. But then, as soon as the ball goes in the hole, they wait for Alonzo to put it on the floor. And at one point, all 5 Chicago defenders are actually below the foul line area. They start to collapse on the ball, but in this instance, they collapse and then recover to their own people. It gives a look like they're coming after Mourning, but they leave Longley one-on-one, and he blocks the shot on Mourning. Next time down, defenders up close enough to guard the three-point line, Mourning in the hole. This time, however, when the ball goes in the hole, they change the look. They collapse to the basketball, but they don't worry about the three-point line. This time, the people that triple back on Mourning leave the three-point line unguarded and gamble on the fact that their pressure will produce a turnover. Sure enough, Mourning trying to drop it off is intercepted by Tony Kukoc. This is a smothering defense that's giving him tough looks, tough reads.
I totally agree with you that they're collapsing, but the key is, I think, is that he's got to go up against Luke Longley and Brian Williams instead of Dennis Rodman. Last game when Zoe had his best game, Longley only played 16 minutes. But I think the key to the game so far is the Bulls bench. It's 28-7 in their favor. Brian Williams has his legs under him. Tony Kukoc having the best game of the series. And, of course, the Arizona contingent of Bushler and Kerr doing the job. But, Hannah, the one that's doing the most to compensate for Scottie Pippen's absence is Alonzo Mourning.
Oh, no doubt. Mourning 0 for 1, and Scottie Pippen, as you saw, the sprained left foot, he's only played 7 minutes, just 2 points. Nonetheless, the Bulls looking to close out the Heat, and this looks more like a score after 3 quarters in this series. Chicago leading it 64-50. We'll send it back for the second half right after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
Woods goes for his 7th USGA championship in 7 years. Tiger's incredible march continues as he vies for back-to-back Grand Slam victories in his first appearance as a pro at the U.S. Open, coming June 12th to NBC.
Welcome back to the United Center in Chicago. A look at the individual scoring totals. Alonzo Mourning just 5 points, just 1 shot. Tim Hardaway leads the way for Miami with 20. Michael Jordan, 18 points, although had the quiet second quarter. Check of the Miller Lite halftime statistics. The Bulls from 2-point range, 20 of 37 from the field. Overall, Chicago red hot, 55% shooting. And a look at Michael Jordan.
Going 6 for 10 from the field, picking up where he left off in the 4th quarter of Game 4 with a lot of little dribble penetration and short jumpers, and then 1 for 8 in the second quarter as he settled primarily for the quick jump shot.
It hit that buzzer shot, which sure lifted his spirits. The Bulls, as a result, up by 14. Miami not shooting well, 38% overall. Look at 19 from three-point range, 6 of 19 from downtown. So the Chicago Bulls, who have led by as many as 18, have a 14-point lead as we head to the third.
Ahmad Rashad back in Chicago, where the Bulls are up by 14 on the Heat. And Phil Jackson told his team at halftime that the key to this entire game was to turn up their intensity right away on defense. That's the way to put the thing away and take it home. Now, I talked with Scottie Pippen during the break. He said that his foot is still bothering him. He came out and tried to warm up during the break here and said that he would decide as times went on. If his foot felt better, he'd decide to play, but he wouldn't know right now. So I will keep you posted if he makes that decision. Marv?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Tony Kukoc will start the second half instead of Scottie Pippen. A look back at the first half. Alonzo Mourning, only that 1 shot attempt, just 5 points. He's turned it over 4 times. Michael Jordan with a good start in the first quarter, but just 1 of 8 in the second quarter. So the third quarter is underway.
And it's no accident that the offense for Chicago improved because their defense was so sharp in that first half.
Yes, this is the highest scoring half for the Bulls in the playoffs, managing the 64 points in the first half tonight. Dan Marley starting for Jamal Mashburn, who picked up a 4th foul late in that second quarter. Here's Tim Hardaway. able to check out the basketball very closely before he unleashed the shot. And for Hardaway, that's now 4 3-pointers, 4 of 10 from three-point range. It cuts it to an 11-point Bulls lead.
Well, Miami loves a three-pointer, but this is almost ridiculous. But that's the shot they're getting because the full defense collapsing so much.
Longley with the back tap. Harper for 3. Longley and Mourning battling each other with much physical contact. That's been the story throughout the game. Longley was called for the foul, his 3rd.
Well, the rim to our right, this one right here looks very, very tight. Looks tight for Miami in the first half as Mourning and Longley getting all tangled up. Joe Crawford right in there to make the quick call.
Hardaway trying to use the screen, and a foul is called. Harper fighting his way through Brown, and Harper is called for his 3rd. And apparently a technical foul has been called. Looked Longley upset about that previous sequence. On the replay, you could see Mourning landed a shot on Longley's head, and that's, I'm sure, what he's complaining about. The foul then was called on Longley for the aftermath to that.
Well, this game really has not turned out as physical to this point as you would expect in what came out of Game 4. And on the other hand, both teams have pretty much stayed away from the fussing and fuming with the officials until that Longley technical.
But the Heat able to hang around after the shaky start. They were down 16-2 after 6 minutes of play. They hit only one of their first 12 from the field. And here's Mourning, only his 2nd field goal attempt.
And not looking very comfortable with that shot. He did take it quickly, however, without fooling with the ball. But Alonzo Mourning having a bad offensive game, has to go to the offensive board and try to do his damage there.
Jordan with the step. Oh, he adjusted on the shot while in midair. Also thought he was fouled.
Yeah, he was looking all over for an official to give him a whistle.
66-54, Chicago. Brown missed the stop. He thought he was fouled. 2 minutes gone by in the 3rd.
That's the 2nd time P.J. Brown had a dunk opportunity, unable to finish off the play. Miami just can't afford to have those kind of miscues.
Mismatch with Marley picking up Longley on a switch. Kukoc. Rodman with the offensive board, and he was fouled.
Well, Michael Jordan, when he puts the ball on the floor and looks for penetration, even if it's only half penetration like this, coming to the quick stop, getting up in the air, and just that little bump below the waist by Marshawn Leonard. Michael wanted the call, probably should have gotten it.
And Leonard called for that foul on Rodman. Leonard's 2nd. Bulls lead by 12. Longley comes out to set the pick. Rodman. Dennis Rodman. Oh, beautiful turnaround shot by Rodman. And once again, he's contributed at the offensive end. 9 points for Rodman. 22nd timeout called by Pat Riley.
And Dennis Rodman under complete control this ballgame, just playing basketball, and he has become an offensive force. In Game 4, scoring 13 points, looking for shots all over the place, already has a three-pointer in this game. And I'm sure the Miami Heat not particularly prepared for Dennis Rodman looking for so many scoring opportunities. There you see the first run. Dennis had been trying to come back from that knee injury. He's having all kinds of foul problems, technical foul problems, starting to get it in gear in this conference final.
And the Chicago Bulls so-called supporting cast has really done the job. Tony Kukoc off the bench. He hit his first shot. He's contributed. Brian Williams, 10 points in all. He's had a couple of blocked shots. Steve Kerr was able to bang one home. He has 6 points. Jason Affey off the bench. So they have done the job in the absence of Scottie Pippen.
Well, just about that whole cast got a good chance to watch Michael Jordan in Game 4 shoot the ball 35 times. Now, a lot of them were out there working hard defensively, doing other things, but never could get into any kind of flow because Michael was taking so many shots.
Foul committed by Harper. That is his 3rd for the Bulls. It is their 3rd team foul. The Heat with just 1. Tim Hardaway has been the offense for Miami. Has 24 points. He's been firing them up from all angles. Here's Brown off the fake. Marley for 3. And Rodman able to counter that rebound. It's number 5 for Dennis Rodman.
And Dan Marley's offensive woes continue as Jamal Mashburn, the normal starter, having to sit it out right now, picking up 4 personal fouls in that first half.
And he had been on a hot streak when he picked up that 4th. Jordan. Michael unable to find the rings. Look out, here they go. But this time, Rodman being very careful. Graciously helps up P.J. Brown.
It can be done. Dennis, I'm sure, enjoying this. Having everybody off balance, confusing everybody.
Rashawn Leonard, the man who hit the deck. And on the jump ball, it's knocked out of bounds by Dennis. Chicago with the edge off the boards, led by Rodman. And the Bulls now lead by 14 points. Here's Mourning. Alonzo Mourning at least looking for the shots, trying to get himself back into it at the offensive end. 4 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Here is Harper. Back comes Hardaway and Leonard at the guards. Mourning with Brown and Marley on the front line. Beautiful pass. Whoa! And it does drop.
That thing had so much spin and English on it, almost went in a few times and almost out as P.J. Brown, having trouble finishing off shots around the basket, got that one on the lucky spin.
Longley called for steps. Traveling violation on Luke Longley.
Luke Longley was all tied up with Alonzo Mourning as P.J. Brown going up and trying to get another dunk. Never got it cleanly through the rim and net and just started spinning all over the rim.
Hardaway trying to find the screen, and Marley was setting it up. And again, Harper tried to force his way through and picked up the foul. That's number 4 on Ron Harper.
Well, Ron Harper realizes how important Tim Hardaway is to the offensive scheme of Miami, trying to stay as close to Tim as he can. And Ron just does not have the foot speed or quickness or lateral movement to stay with Hardaway on penetration. So he has to give a lot of ground and then pick his spots to get up in pressure.
Marley off the spin. Beautiful move by Dan Marley. That's his second field goal. Just 2 of 7 from the field, but Miami very much in range, down by only 10. The whistle down low. It's a 3-second violation. Third turnover of this third quarter called on Chicago. Slow start by the Bulls, up by 10. We'll be right back. A view from the Miller Eagle airplane. We welcome you back to Chicago. Marv Albert, Matt Dugas, and Ahmad Rashad. The Chicago Bulls with a 68-58 lead on the Miami Heat. 6:52 to go in this third quarter. Michael Jordan just 2 of 11 from the field after the first quarter. You know, Matt, you can consider the NBA playoff record for most shots in a game shared by Wilt Chamberlain and Rick Barry. 48 shots in a game. And up till halftime, you go back to the last 2 quarters of game number 4 and the first 2 quarters here tonight, Jordan had put up 42 shots. A astonishing number, and a foul is called. It's on Miami. It's on P.J. Brown. That is his first.
Well, here's Michael Jordan's playoff rounds in the first one against Washington, shooting the ball very well, the 37-point average. That shooting percentage dropping off dramatically, but it has not turned him away from putting up those shots. The ice concession was doing very well for Michael's arm.
It'll be Chicago ball, last touched by Marley. They have 12 on the shot clock. Bulls have turned it over the last 3 possessions. Kukoc trying to shake off Marley, cannot. Shot clock running down. The rejection, giving it to Hardaway. John Leonard has been having difficulty locating shots. called offensive foul on Alonzo Mourning. That's his third personal.
Well, Alonzo is struggling with every part of his offense, whether it's the post game, the jump shot. Here he's trying to take Dennis Rodman in and throwing that right shoulder. Dennis didn't even really have to flop there. Nevertheless, it's just a habit to him to fall backwards, but clearly an offensive foul on Alonzo Mourning.
Offensive foul counts as a turnover, so that is number 5 committed by Mourning.
Coming into this game, so important for both Tim Hardaway and Alonzo Mourning to have big games and then get those contributions from the supporting cast. Hardaway holding up his end of the bargain. Mourning struggling.
And that is number 4 on Mourning. We have seen this on many an occasion during the regular season and also earlier on in the playoffs, where Alonzo will pick up what will be considered an unnecessary foul in the third quarter. Whistler's shot. Longley is right there. Luke Longley has come up strong. He has 9 points and a technical foul. A technical foul has been called. Joe Crawford with a, what he was motioning as a taunting, too much taunt, pointing in the direction of Dennis Rodman, who keeps the streak alive in the technical foul department.
He's trying to be very diplomatic with Joe Crawford. I'm sure Dennis Rodman knew coming into this game, knew that Joe would be keeping a close eye. Dennis Rodman did a very good job of knocking this ball loose to Luke Longley for that dunk, and then talking and the clapping afterwards is what earned him the taunting technical.
And that's 17 technicals in 13 playoff games. Hardaway for 3. Rebounded by Isaac Austin, who just came on for Alonzo Mourning. Here's Rashawn Leonard. T.J. Brown able to keep it alive. Brown way off. And Rodman able to hustle it down. 5 minutes to go in the third. And the Bulls up by 11. Miami is now 7 of 23 from three-point range. Foul is called on Leonard of Miami.
Away from the ball, trying to keep Michael Jordan from getting down to the baseline area. Scottie Pippen only able to play just a handful of minutes. 7 minutes so far in this game with that sore ankle going up. And talking to Jamal Mashburn was letting us know going up to Phil Jackson, see if he couldn't get in this game. The Bulls are struggling without him.
And Hugh Hollins makes the call at mid-court. Foul again on the Heat. John Brown. P.J. Brown with his second foul. And Judd Bushler to the line.
Well, the Chicago Bulls always like to have at least 2 key ball handlers on the floor. And, of course, that's Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Tony Kukoc can fill that role very nicely. But guys like Judd Bushler, Ron Harper are not really playmakers. So, really, right now, it's Michael Jordan, the only man who can make plays for himself and others out on the floor.
I don't know if the Bulls are actually struggling, but with Scottie Pippen on the bench, it certainly has come into their effectiveness. They do have a 12-point lead. They've led by as many as 18. Hardaway rejected by Longley. Harper, the trailer, taking it from Jordan, and it leads to a Miami timeout. The Bulls by 14 with 4:24 to go in the third quarter.
Well, Michael Jordan having problems with his offense, forcing the action here, getting up, hanging in the air. And that's what I mean about able to make tough plays for other people. And that was a tough shot by Ron Harper. Scottie Pippen taking the part of cheerleader.
Jamal Mashburn back in Chicago. Now, Scottie Pippen hurt his foot early in the game. He's been sitting out. And moments ago, you can see Dr. Jeffrey Weinberg going over and asking Jerry Krause if Scottie Pippen could get in the game. Obviously, he said no, but Scottie started with Phil Jackson, and Phil Jackson said no, ask the doctor. Scottie asked the doctor had to go ask Jerry Krause, and obviously Jerry Krause said no, and Scottie is still sitting on the bench and still lobbying as he's now talking to Chip Schaefer. Back to you, Marv.
Thanks a lot. Scottie Pippen played 7 minutes, injured his foot, has not seen any action since. The Bulls have received tremendous play off the bench in his absence. Deshaun Leonard trying the three. Randy Brown, one of those bench players, back on the floor, along with Judd Bushler. Michael Jordan posting up now, drawing the double team to set it up for Brown. And the Bulls get the new 24 with just under 4 minutes to go. In this third quarter, Chicago leads 73-59. Luke Longley has had a very strong game. And here's Judd Bushler. Tim Hardaway for John Leonard in the backcourt. Isaac Austin, P.J. Brown, Dan Marley up front. Austin shooting. Austin has come on for the foul-plagued Mourning, who has 4. Miami has now missed its last 7 shots.
And on that last miss by Chicago, Pat Riley frustrated over on the Miami bench with his team for not taking that opportunity to get out and look for a transition basket, because in the half court, you're right, they just can't knock anything down. You got to go get some easy baskets, you got to get some layups, and you got to get second shot opportunities.
Leonard got a piece of that pass saved by Bushler. Jordan for 3. Good play by Rodman to get to that loose ball. And Longley showing confidence. But a foul is called against Miami. It's on Austin.
Well, it's been the tough defense of the Chicago Bulls that got them started off in this ballgame. Challenging shots, blocking shots, making it very difficult for Miami to run any kind of half-court offense. And when the Heat do get to the basket, it's been either Brian Williams or Luke Longley knocking them out of there.
So Longley to the line. Miami now over the foul limit. You see Michael Jordan taking a seat. He had the good shooting first quarter, but since then has not had the touch. 8 of 22 overall. Leads Chicago with 20 points. Bulls now have a 15-point Bulls with just under 3 minutes to go in the third. Jamal Mashburn back on the floor playing with the 4 fouls. Dennis Rodman going out similar to a wide receiver trying to haul it in, and nearly made a very nice reception.
Now Miami going to try to spread the floor, get that high pick and roll for Tim Hardaway to see if they can create something.
Miami's now missed his last 8 shot attempts, and Marley puts it into that streak with the long-range 3. 8 points for Marley. Bulls 74 and the Heat 62. That was the 25th three-pointer attempted by Miami. They're 8 for 25. Tony Kukoc, who just came on for Michael Jordan, extending to a 76-62 lead. 8 points for Kukoc. Austin. The box out by Bushler. Randy Brown checking with Bill Jackson at the Bulls bench.
And Isaac Austin winding up on the perimeter for shot attempts. Jamal Mashburn not going to the board. Nobody for Miami getting to the offensive glass.
Shot clock at 6. Rodman posting up. And Austin, who handles the ball well for a big man, perhaps getting a little overconfident there, and turned it over.
Good being a relative term there. He did get all the way to the basket nicely enough, but just unable to finish any kind of playoff.
Well, both clubs having their problems offensively. Each with 12 points in this third quarter. Again, Rodman in the post-up mode, putting the moves on Mashburn.
It's strange to say, Dennis Rodman, the go-to guy right now for Chicago with Jordan on the bench and Pippen injured.
Hardaway's pass broken up by Bushler, but he recovers. Hardaway now played by Kukoc. Hardaway able to slice his way through to set it up for Leonard for three. For Sean Leonard, hammering the three from right in front of the Chicago bench. And the Bulls now lead by 11. Leonard only his second field goal. He has 5 points. Longley. Nice pass from Kukoc.
Exactly what the Chicago Bulls need from Tony Kukoc. He's got to create out there now by putting the ball on the floor, get into the teeth of the defense, look for a score himself, or those kickouts to other players. But Tim Hardaway starting to get into the lane for Miami.
Here's Leonard for three. Down to 5 seconds in the quarter. Kukoc for three. And the tip. And the buzzer. Randy Brown getting inside for the 10. 3 quarters complete here in Chicago. And the Bulls lead the Heat 80-65. Chicago hoping to wrap the series. Miami now forced with coming back from a 15-point deficit.
Rashad back in Chicago now to put a closure on the Scottie Pippen situation. Scottie, competitive juices flowing, still lobbying everybody he can find to try to get in the game. I spoke with Jerry Krause, and Jerry Krause told me that it is too much of a chance to take a chance on Scottie's foot. He said they got a comfortable lead, and they wouldn't take a chance like that. As a matter of fact, he said it didn't matter if it was Scottie or the 12th man on the team, that is too dangerous to try to take a chance on somebody going out and re-injuring a foot. And there's Jerry reiterating the fact that no, he is not going in the game. So I think that is, I think we all know what he said. He said no, so Scottie will have a good seat for the rest of the game. Mark?
Right about you saw Jerry Krause, general manager of the Bulls, talking with assistant coach Jim Stack. Passed the word on to the bench after Jim visited with Jerry in the stands. Keith Askins, who's come on for the first time, called for that foul as this fourth quarter gets underway. Chicago leading by as many as 18. Although Miami has put on a push, the lead never dipped under 10. Tim Hardaway, high man for Miami with 25. Alonzo Mourning, 0 for 3 from the field, just 5 points. Michael Jordan has not shot well, got off early, but since then, this has begun to take on the look of what took place over the first 3 quarters in Game 4.
Well, not a pretty offensive third quarter for either team, but you have to give a lot of the credit to the defense there. Good pressure on the ball, challenging a lot of shots.
Mashburn, like Bushler got a piece of it. Miami was 5 of 20 from the field in the third. And the Bulls 7 of 22, so poor shooting all around. Brian Williams back on the floor. Kukoc with the save attempt. And was trying to call for a 20, and he did. Got the timeout call. It will be Chicago ball. Good play by Tony Kukoc.
Tony frustrated with himself for not capitalizing on some of these shooting opportunities so close to the basket.
On a reminder, tomorrow, must-see TV with a different look. The evening starting off with Friends at 8 o'clock Eastern. Next up, Seinfeld at the special time of 8:30, and then Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. The Jazz and the Rockets. And viewers on the West Coast will see Friends and Seinfeld after the game. So that's must-see TV right here on NBC. And more bad numbers on Alonzo Mourning. Look at this, the last 3 games had the outstanding performance in Game 4, but had that 1 of 4 and 9 turnovers in Game 3, and once again tonight, not able to do it, not getting into it at all offensively.
Well, when Miami Dan Marley took a shot in the mouth. Oh, beautiful pass to Michael Jordan. Dan Marley got hit in the mouth from Judge Bushler and just stopped cold in his tracks.
The Bulls now have a 17-point lead. Hardaway looking to put on moves against Brown, who will very fine defensive player. The call applauded by Brown, although I don't think that was his real feeling about it. But Randy Brown has called for his first. Beautiful pass, as you mentioned, and Michael Jordan, since the first quarter, is now 3 of 14 from the field.
Well, this is usually Tim Hardaway time for the Miami Heat, trailing by 17 points. Fourth quarter, Tim Hardaway likes to do it with the three-point shot or penetration to the basket, and already the Miami Heat have taken a ton of three-pointers. They're going to have to take more.
Dennis Rodman back, replacing Tony Kukoc. Kukoc with 8 points. Mashburn, foul, putting the move on Williams. Ryan Williams with number 4. John Leonard over at the scorer's table getting set to check back in. Mashburn with 11 points.
Jamal Mashburn, not particularly impressive numbers when you consider what kind of scorer he was a couple of years ago with the Dallas Mavericks, averaging 24 points a game. Had a nice game 4, scoring 17 points. Got off to a good start in the first quarter here, but getting 4 personals in the first half really took him out of it.
So Leonard has come on to give Hardaway a rest. Mourning is back. 82-67, the Bulls with the big lead. Jordan being played now by Marley and directing traffic. Got the pick from Williams. Shot clock at 5. Jordan. Rodman with the rebound and a foul. For Dennis, it's number 11. And he was pushed by Austin. That's 3 on Austin. Timeout has been called with 9:55 to go in the fourth quarter. The Bulls 82, the Heat 67.
Miller Genuine Draft presents a classic moment of the NBA at 50.
Tonight we look back at last year's playoffs, the Bulls and the Heat. First round, it was all Bulls, 3-game sweep in total domination. Chicago took game 1 by 17 points. That was the closest score. Game 2, a 31-point blowout. And game 3, a 21-point Bulls win. In recognition of this classic moment, the Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Tim Hardaway continues to sit here at the start of the fourth quarter. Bulls with a 82-67 lead, hoping to wrap matters. They do not want to return to Miami on Friday, and then they would await the winner of the Houston-Utah series, while the Heat would need a miraculous turn here in the stretch in the fourth quarter to bring it to a Game 6 back at Miami Arena on Friday night. Jordan putting the move on Marley, going left this time, and rebounded by Austin. So Michael Jordan now 9 for 26.
And 9 for 35 in game 4 after getting off to a good start in this one.
Pretty move by Mashburn. 14 for Mashburn, and the Bulls have a 13-point advantage.
Well, the triangle offense for Chicago, Michael Jordan not happy with it, so he just comes down and calls the spread floor to see if they can't get some driving lanes and some cutting, but the ball just stagnant, not getting enough player movement.
Shot clock at 5. Down to 3.
Let's go!
A foul. Check that 3-second violation call. So the ball back to the Heat.
Rodman on the weak side. He's a little confused by Dennis, always trying to anticipate that shot going up.
Mashburn. Mashburn, the last 2 games, has been a factor. 17 in game 4, now has 16.
And Tony Kukoc just cannot keep Jamal Mashburn from going to the basket.
82-71, Chicago. Miami chipping away, and momentarily we will see Tim Hardaway make his return. Jordan trying to put moves on Marley and held. So the foul is called, number 3 on Dan Marley.
And a big break for Michael Jordan, the Bulls there. The shot clock showing 1 second left, and a little hand check by Marley bails the Bulls out.
Both teams with 2 team fouls. Michael Jordan extending to the 84-71 lead. Miami had scored 6 straight points. Here's Mashburn again. He beat Kukoc off the dribble and was hit on a reach-in.
Well, it's been Scottie Pippen who has the usual assignment of guarding Mashburn, although Jamal did get away from Pippen in the last game. But Mashburn just is too good with the basketball, has too much ability to get to the basket for Tony Kukoc to do anything about it. That'll get Tony a seat on the bench. Judd Bushler in to try to quiet Jamal Mashburn.
For Kukoc's first foul. Mashburn setting it up on the crossover. Bushler's done a nice job, though, and hearing it from the crowd. 3-second violation called on Miami.
Now, what a difference the good defense makes, as Bushler just would not let Mashburn beat him off the dribble, just bent his knees, stayed in front of him, and Isaac Boston, anticipating something happening, tried to cheat in the lane.
Well, the Bulls here in the early going of the fourth quarter have attempted 6 shots. Jordan with 5 of those 6 shots. Bushler with Williams and Rodman up front. Jordan. And Austin with the hustle and the save. Actually a dangerous save, but Miami comes away with the ball. Leonard for 3. And a loose ball foul on Marley.
Loose ball foul, Miami. And Marley.
Oh, Michael Jordan very frustrated with his team right now as far as their offensive execution is concerned, trying to get people in the right spots as the offense is not coming very smoothly at all to Chicago in this second half.
Timeout is taken with 7.5 remaining. In the fourth quarter, the Bulls 84, the Heat 71.
Well, during that timeout, Michael Jordan straightening out Brian Williams, letting him know that it was a play call out of the triangle and where he should be. On the 5th play, you have to come up and set a screen. Now, keep in mind, Brian Williams joined the Chicago Bulls with 9 games remaining in the regular season, and it is not the easiest offense in the world. Brian Williams feels like he knows a good deal about it, but certainly not as much as Michael Jordan.
7.5 remaining. In this fourth quarter, the Bulls with a 13-point lead with the ball. Marley was trying to draw an offensive foul. The Bulls with only 20 points thus far in the second half. The last 17 minutes is 20 points for Chicago. Here is Jordan. And again, the shots way off. This is what we saw the first 3 quarters in the previous game. And appeared he was on his way to an explosive night. Mourning foul by Jordan. Remember, Michael Jordan opened up looking very sharp, very crisp, hitting his shots. Look at the center matchup. Alonzo Mourning has been severely outplayed by Luke Longley.
Well, his game 4 was exceptional, coming off the prediction with the 18 points, 14 rebounds, and setting a very physical presence. And on this particular play right here, he took a physical hard shot and foul from Michael Jordan, who remembers all the banging and elbows from just a couple of days ago.
Foul on Jordan is 3rd. Mourning is now 6 of 7 at the line. Miami has had a superb night at the line, 19 of 20 overall. And Alonzo adds to that. Bulls 84 and the Heat 73. So Miami allowed to hang around, down by as many as 18. But still very much alive. Tim Hardaway is back defending on Ron Hoffer. Shot clock down to 3. Jordan, yes. The Bulls lead 86-73. 26 points for Jordan, who is now 11 of 30. And Mourning involved with Williams. Foul on Brian Williams. That is number 5.
Well, the other 4 players having trouble creating anything, and it always seems to be Michael Jordan winding up with the basketball with the shot clock winding down. As it appeared, he had something to say to Pat Riley on the other way back, and Pat Riley getting a kick out of whatever it was Michael Jordan said to him.
And you know that Pat Riley would not get involved in anything serious. There is some precedence to that earlier this year with several coaches getting involved with Michael. It did not pay off, but it looked like Michael might have just been dropping by to say hi.
Well, there's a tremendous amount of respect between these two. And Pat Riley, the coaching career that he has, you know, Michael Jordan respects him. Of course, his sentiments are with Phil Jackson, but he knows what Pat Riley has done, and Pat Riley has been nothing but complimentary to Michael Jordan throughout his career.
86-75, Chicago. Bulls have 3 timeouts remaining. The Heat with 4 left. Jordan to the crossover. Marley has done an excellent job. Pretty pass, though. Jordan setting it up for Hopper. Marley cut off the dribble. Jordan had nowhere to go.
And you get the feeling that's what Michael has been trying to get his teammates to do throughout the series. When he is caught with the ball and moving around with it, get some movement off the ball.
Hardaway. Well, that's a new one out of the repertoire, at least for this playoff series. 13-point Chicago lead, just under 6 to go in the fourth. Jordan called for steps.
On the jump stop, Michael looking in astonishment at the referee, Hugh Hollins. Felt that he came to that jump stop. Looked like his feet did shuffle just a little bit, as this has been a bread and butter play for Michael. Coming to the quick stop. It looked like that right foot turned out to be the pin, but normally for a right-hand player, it would be the left foot, but Michael had that right one planted.
Mashburn with a wild shot. It counts, and the foul. So Mashburn heads to the line. The foul committed by Bushler.
Mashburn has been trying to just get to the basket and create something, whether fouls, whether shots, as Judge Bushler the last time did a good job. This time lost control of it.
It is now a 10-point Bulls lead. Mashburn with 9 of his 18 points in this fourth quarter. Chicago Bulls playing without Scottie Pippen with that injured foot. Played 7 minutes. That's it. Hopper for 3. Yes. We might look back on that shot as one of the critical field goals for the Bulls.
In games 1 and 2, it was Ron Harper hitting the big three-pointers with about 3 minutes to go in each game.
Mashburn and Harper on the rebound. Harper's hit 4 of 6 from the field. He has 9 points. We're just under 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Crowd has been very quiet here in the fourth. Not much to cheer for from the Chicago point of view. The offense has struggled. And Rodman and Mourning get involved once again. And then Dennis Rodman saving the moment by patting Alonzo Mourning, who did not appreciate the gesture.
Well, Dennis tries to control, but just doesn't seem to be able to control himself at times. As it looked like he was going to try one of those, just tie the man up, fighting for the loose ball, to grab, the hold, the push. Should have been a foul there on Dennis Rodman.
Now, Alonzo Mourning did not want any encouragement from Dennis Rodman. Tim Hardaway on that foul is third. He was not looking for the pat from Dennis,
because he knows it's not sincere.
Right. And Jordan to the free throw line with 3 of 4 at the line thus far.
Well, on a night when Scottie Pippen has an injury, unable to contribute in this game, just about everybody else that has played for the Chicago Bulls really making huge contributions to help out Michael Jordan, who is once again struggling with his shot.
And a timeout is called by the Heat. So the Bulls have the lead back up to 15. And this crowd looking ahead to another NBA Final Series. Well, there's some support for how Michael Jordan spends his recreation time.
Charles Barkley trying to fan the fire, saying, well, how about Michael Jordan going out and playing all those holes of golf? And Charles would know how many Michael can play in that heat in South Florida and still go out and put up 35 shots. No other player would get the chance. Michael, 11 for 30, 5 for 20 ever since that first quarter.
15-point Chicago lead. Mashburn. And Hopper able to reach for the loose ball. We're down to 4:20 remaining in this fourth quarter.
and it has been complete domination on the backboards by Chicago despite their bad shooting. Ron Harper chipped in on the boards. 7 offensive rebounds for Dennis Rodman, 20 for the Bulls.
Shot clock at 3. Rodman lost sight of the 24-second clock.
He did not have the right-hand baseline hook in the repertoire because that's about the only shot he would have been able to get up.
Bulls, as you mentioned, with the edge off the boards, now 48 to 33. You see the breakdown. Dennis Rodman contributing 12 rebounds, 9 points, 4 assists. Hardaway very quiet in the second half. Hardaway, it's a 2-pointer, foot on the line. 20 of his 27 points came in the first half, and the Bulls now lead 93-80. All right, here is Bushler. Oh, Harper again off the board. Ron Harper has come up big in this fourth quarter. 11 points in all, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. Hardaway for 3, and the rebound handled by Rodman. As we come up on 3 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. Bushler looking for the 3, but changes his mind, and Longley able to finish it off. Luke Longley with 14.
Well, he heard the wrath of Michael Jordan, I'm sure, after Game 4 for never getting involved early in the game. Nice bounce back one by Luke Longley to really overshadow and outplay Alonzo Mourning in Game 5.
All right, Rodman with his second reminder. Stay tuned after your local news. Most of these stations for the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. It's coming up after your local news right here on NBC. Jamal Mashburn, 5 of 5 at the free throw line. 19 points in all. We're down to 2:39 to go in this fourth quarter.
Still such a disappointment for the Miami Heat after winning Game 4 to try to get a little momentum going. Tim Hardaway getting a nice round of applause here from his hometown Chicago people, I think. Or I guess that was for Dennis Rodman, but Tim Hardaway, a lot of fans here, had a terrific season. But Alonzo Mourning, no field goals in this game.
And Dennis Rodman with 9 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and a wise move by Phil Jackson to sit him down. Does not want any additional trouble. Dennis had his customary technical foul called earlier. Foul was called on Jordan, involved with Mourning. And apparently double technicals on Jordan and Mourning. Joey Crawford calling it a verbal altercation, word passed on by way of the scorer's table.
Well, we talked about it early. Michael Jordan did not appreciate the way Alonzo Mourning was throwing his body and elbows around in Game 4. Here's Michael Jordan with a little fake at the back of the head to the Alonzo Mourning, and Joe Crawford right on top of it, calling the technical foul. And Michael Jordan not happy with Jamal Mashburn in Game 4 either.
Michael Jordan came into tonight saying that it's now personal off the loss in Miami the other day. He came out shooting well, the Bulls moving the ball extremely well, but he lost the touch from the second quarter on. Still, the Bulls getting terrific support off the bench, have been able to stay with the double-digit lead. They now lead 97-82 as we approach 2 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. Mashburn putting the move on Jordan, setting it up for Mourning, who was stripped. It's an embarrassing game for Alonzo Mourning. 0 for 3 from the field. And Alonzo with 7 turnovers. They're on their feet cheering the Bulls, who are headed to the NBA Finals for the 5th time the last 7 years. Bushler on the loose ball. And particularly with the injury suffered by Scottie Pippen. You know, the Bulls delighted to get a couple of extra days off rather than have to play in Miami on Friday, as they will await the winner between the Utah Jazz and the Houston Rockets.
And I'm sure they will root for a 7-game series over in the West.
Harper, yes. Ron Harper, a major factor here tonight with an outstanding performance in the fourth quarter. Harper with another rebound. We come up on 1 minute remaining in the fourth.
And then that last high pick by Alonzo Mourning trying to clip Michael Jordan there, as Michael had to do everything to dodge it.
Harper with 9 of his 13 points here in the fourth. And the Bulls in no hurry. Harper is fouled, held by Mashburn. So the Bulls on the verge of making it to the finals. Once again, looking ahead to their possible opponent from the West, the Bulls. And the Jazz met twice this season in November in Salt Lake City. Karl Malone with 36 points and delivered the then 12-0 Bulls their first loss of the season. 2 months later here in Chicago, Jordan and the Bulls avenged that defeat with a 13-point win. Bulls and Rockets also met twice, also split in January here in Chicago. Jordan with 32 and a 24-point Bulls blowout. But 8 days later, the Rockets soaring to a 16-point win behind Akeem Olajuwon's 32 points. So the Bulls await the winner out west in the 1997 NBA Finals right here on NBC. Ron Harper hitting 1 of 2 at the line, 100-82 Chicago. Here's John Scottie, who checked in just moments ago, rejected. Miami will retain possession. Luke Longley with his 5th block shot. As we mentioned, splits with both Utah and Houston by Chicago. Mashburn. That time he just did get it over Longley.
Well, despite the poor performance overall by the Heat in this Game 5, they can look back on this season as a very successful one with 61 wins. Be almost losing to Orlando, having to go to Game 5, taking advantage of the suspensions against the Knicks, and not really challenging the Bulls all that hard, but getting a face-saving win.
An excellent job by Pat Riley and his staff. That's a 24-second violation. But the season has come to an end for the Miami Heat. Chicago will do it in 5. We're down to 3 6/10 seconds to go. Sean Lennon able to toss it into Alonzo Mourning, and Mourning in the final seconds able to connect with his first field goal of the night. Top with the clock apparently. Question is the game over? Yes, it is. The clock actually did not start, and now the officials say, hey, that's it. And they just ran off the rest of the time. And right now, the question is the game over? Because there are still players remaining on the floor. They're trying to clear the floor. They might put some more time on. Yes, that's game is not officially over. They ran the time off the clock, and they have just put 2.5 seconds back on. So Alonzo Mourning apparently feels it is all over. He has departed after connecting on his first field goal, which was a 3, and that is now officially the end of the game. The Chicago Bulls defeat the Miami Heat 100-87. They win the series in 5. They advance to the NBA Finals. Let's go to Ahmad with Michael Jordan.
All right, thanks, Mark. Michael, one of the things that you talked about having lost down in Miami was that loss really brought this team together and got them back focused.
Not just the loss, but the way we lost in terms of, we got beat up pretty much. And, they came in and, beat us up pretty bad. So we were back in our own home court, and we wanted to make a stand. We didn't want to beat them up on the basketball court, yeah. But, not physical to where it ends up fighting.
A lot of people didn't really understand what you were talking about when you said this is personal. What did you mean?
I meant in terms of our intensity as a game. We got to stand down defensively, offensively, do all the things, necessary things we needed to win. It wasn't to go out there and try to fight or throw elbows or whatever. We just weren't going to let them come in and push us around. No more knots on our heads, none of that stuff. We wanted to come out and play hard.
What about the finals? You have any thought about that, Utah or Houston?
Well, we got back to the finals, but it's not just to get back. You know, against Utah or Houston, you know, either one of those teams, you know, veteran ball club, they know how to play the game mentally as well as physically. So we have to get ourselves ready and healthy and get ready for a battle. And, you know, we start here at home for 2 wins, and then we got to go out there for 2 wins.
Eastern Conference champion. Is it sort of anticlimactic, winning it?
Well, it's good to be Eastern Conference champions, but, you know, to come up short doesn't really mean nothing. You know, we want to get all the way to the ring and, you know, make it 5, you know, go on from there.
All right, between me and you, how many holes you play yesterday?
A lot. I mean, I'm going to play them all. A lot.
Congratulations, man. Back to you, Marv.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. And for the Chicago Bulls, including the playoffs, win number 80 on the season. Again, Jordan did not shoot well, 11 for 31, but led the way with 28. Chicago headed back to the finals.